To each one, man. And we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Diagnosis number 4, part 2. And I have a whole new slew of guests, different guests tonight. Be sure to check out the first one if you haven't already. But now on to our panelists. I have some of the greatest people here that ever graced YouTube. I'm giving you guys a little boost here. Anyway, go ahead and give your intros, starting with your fat fuck Canadian boy, Bear Hugger.
Why you always gotta pick me first? What's going on, everybody out there in YouTube land? I'm your fucking fat biological shit taker, Bearhugger29, and welcome, or whatever the case may be. Glad to be here. Not sure what this is going to be called, but fuck it, whatever. I'm here.
And letters.
I'm just letters. Bear Hugger gets an introduction, and I'm just letters. I'm just cast off
It's
to
like
the
my
side.
trademark, man.
I'm just thrown off to the side like some sidekick character. Just go, you know.
GBG is my sidekick, man.
Oh, really? I'm a sidekick now. Screw this. I'm
Batman,
Batman.
you
You
and
Nightwing. I will be partner. Damn it. But I hope y'all enjoy the stuff that we got to say here. That's all I really wanted to say.
Next up, the diva herself, Coupon.
I was taken hostage for this podcast just so I can let people know I'm a hostage. I did not know it was a podcast until 2 seconds ago, so I'm a hostage.
Hold on.
And
Are
You
you
are not a hostage because you can click out.
Are you trying to feed into this whole Anita Sarkeesian thing?
oh please, don't put me with her.
No.
No. But thank you for having me. Yeah, I'm still a hostage, and I'm gonna see how this goes. I'm flying by the seat of my pants.
All right, and last but not least, the guy that hasn't taken bull since, I don't know, he chooses a different year every time. Go ahead.
This is me, Mr. Red Fox. I've been called in to assist Dr. Feelgood, and I've only got one thing to say. He's dead, Jim.
Moving on.
All right. So, just to give you guys a heads up, what we're talking about is a fair gaming industry. What would it look like? What would it require to make the current industry as fair as possible, if not completely fair? I personally have a few ideas or things I think should be implemented to make it more fair. And of course, I want you guys' input and your own ideas. So, first of all, the first thing I have here, let me pull it up, is a divided market, which it already is. You have consoles on one side, which will be in our scenario, in a fair market, it will be Sony, Microsoft, Sega, but we're not talking about a time back then. We're talking about today. Sega, Nintendo, and the PC. Those are 5 platforms. And then the other side, you have the mobile market, which is, portable game systems and, cell phones, tablets, or whatever. So 2 separate markets. Now, first question. What if a developer had to choose? They only had 2 choices when they made a game. A, they make that game for a single market, either the console or the portable, but they either make that game for everything in that market, or they only choose one. There is no in between. There's no picking 2 out of 4. I mean, 2 out of 5 or 3 out of 5. It's either you make it for all, or you make it for just one. And that game will never be ported. It will never be available on those other consoles throughout that generation. So, in other words, if Activision decided to make Call of Duty, they either have to make it for the PlayStation, the Xbox, whatever console Sega would have, Nintendo, and PC, or they choose just one. That is it, just one.
Well,
Throughout
Call
the
of Duty would be
duration
good
of
again
that.
for one. Call of Duty would be good again for one. Because I have a feeling they would probably stick to Sony branding because they do seem to do the best on Sony platforms, if I'm correct. But I could see that working because we get, 1, more quality games per platform, and 2, they could better keep track of what's going into the games and probably wouldn't be iterating series as often as they do, because they would have more time to breathe on the console it's on. At least I would hope it would.
Anybody else?
Microsoft would just spew up money.
No, keep in mind, this is not about money at all. This is the developer's decision. Completely their decision. They can only make it for either one console.
You mean publisher decision?
No. Developer, not publisher.
In this scenario, developers are publishing their own games.
Oh, okay. So using that as a scenario. Okay, so kind of like what indies do. All right. Well, if that be the case, yeah, I'd rather see it be on consoles, home consoles, and be completely multiplied across all systems, because I think that all games that everyone can play, everyone would be able to actually at least play it. Exclusives to me is just it's kind of hit or miss to me depending on the game.
But do you think it'd be a good idea that they have to choose one console or choose them all for that game?
I think it depends on the...
In other words, they can't sway the market either way, because either you show loyalty to one console because maybe you feel that they can further realize your dream of what you want to do. They're a better fit for the game you have. Go ahead.
I understand what you're saying, Dr. Feelgood, but I mean, it depends on who's making the game. It depends on
what kind of game it is.
Yeah, what type of game it is. Because, for example, Sega, right? Sega is at their best, believe it or not when they do multi-platform, when they make a game for one console. Like, I don't care what console it is. Okay, except for the latest Sonic game.
Yeah,
but generally speaking,
that's a whole podcast.
No, but seriously, believe it or not, Sega's at their best when they focus on one platform. For example, the Yakuza series, one of my favorite series, is pretty much bound to Sony platforms, and it's fun. It's a budget beat 'em up game, but it's kind of like the spiritual successor to Golden Axe and Shenmue. Yeah, Shenmue. The reason I say Golden Axe is because it's a beat 'em up. Streets of Rage. It's like if Streets of Rage, Shenmue, and Golden Axe had a weird night in Vegas. The resulting child would be Yakuza.
A secret night in Vegas nobody knows about.
Okay,
a weird night in Vegas, and no one wants to see the pictures in the camera. But my point is that, like, it's a fun game and it's really good. Sonic the Hedgehog, I mean, whether you want to admit it or not, the ones that were on the Wii were actually fairly decent. They weren't great, but they were fairly decent. And, like, really, when they focus, I mean, even if it's not on the Wii, if they focus on one console, I don't care what it is, I mean, it works out well for them because, you know, that's they don't have to spread their energy around the multiple consoles. They don't have to, they aren't trying to juggle, like, 3 plates in the air. They can focus on one thing. But there's some games that really do pretty good when they're on all consoles, like your Maddens, your I hate to say this, your Call of Duties. So it just depends on the game, who the developer is. You know, do they have the resources to support those platforms? If it's a smaller studio, focus on one console. If you can do it and not sacrifice quality, do it on multiple consoles.
But that's my point. It's like in this scenario, things like the resources.
Yeah.
Not like, let's just say that wasn't anything to worry about. It's not a concern. Resources.
Oh.
There's no money heading. Nothing
Well, damn,
overall, I mean, do you think that concept of choosing one console or having to make it for all would be good?
Then actually, if I'd have known that, I would have gone differently. If resources aren't an issue and all of them have the resources to do whatever they want to do, then I think there shouldn't be, unless it is a console-specific exclusive made by, like, the game, like a Nintendo game is on Nintendo consoles, or a Sega game, if Sega had a console, is on Sega consoles. Then if it's like a multi-platform, a third party, it should be on everything.
Okay. Anybody else? Before I move on, and Barry actually had created a great segue.
Don't I always?
Next, okay. The next aspect I want to inject into this is, as you mentioned, Bear, there are absolutely no third-party publishers, meaning developers are not forced to rush to get a title out. They can take their time. There is no showing preference to one console over the other. So if there were no third parties, developers had to market, had to create, design their own, get everything about the game inside out, kind of like how BioWare was when they had Mass Effect. They do everything. You think that would actually improve things if there were no publishers involved?
Most definitely, abso-fucking-lutely, yeah, because publishers are the ones that are pressuring them to get that release date fucking on lockdown. And they still release it, even if it's broken or not. I mean, with the recent examples of Unity and whatnot, yeah. You know, or the catastrophe of the Mass Effect 3, you know, climactic ending and everything else like that. Yeah, if publishers were more lenient to give developers more time to complete their game, polish it, get what they want out of their game first, and release it, you know, without too many some bugs and glitches, that's common, but not broken. Yeah, games would be a hell of a lot fucking better.
Anybody else?
I was going to say
Publishers need a union.
Man, you didn't say that.
Or actually, no, I take that back. Developers need a union.
Yeah.
Developers need a union. Developers need someone to go to bat for them to say, we don't want to put out a product that's a piece of garbage before it's ready because it's gonna make us look bad. It's gonna make, and here's the thing: when you're a developer, publishers, you know, they can do things like if the studio that developed the game starts doing bad, they'll liquidate the studio and cut ties and say, well, it wasn't us, it was them. But a publisher, that's their reputation. And in business, the only thing you got is your reputation. You know? And, you know, when the people with the purse strings can sit there and say, oh, well, this has to ship in fall, by November 21st, and it's like, yeah, but the game is only 80% done. That's not good.
And just release a 5 GB patch to fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody else?
Well, I was going to say if that was the case, we would get a return of the third and fourth generation of gaming.
I was going to say that myself.
More likely the fourth, because I think they were a little bit more lenient during the fourth generation. But
that's a perfect segue.
It would be helpful.
That's a perfect segue. Anyone else before I move on?
The Good Shepherd.
All right.
Hey, what's up, good peoples?
Shepherd is back.
Yeah, it was weird. I couldn't hear nobody.
I'm sorry about that, man. Go ahead and give your intro since you were here before as well, right?
So it is live. Great. Yeah, hi. It's Good Shepherd. You know me, being random, love video games, lots of random knowledge. Let's talk the good stuff. All right.
All right. And now back to the segue. This is courtesy of Letters, of course. But if every version of the game had to be optimized for that console, so let's say a developer said, okay, we made the decision to make this game for every platform in this category or whatever, they have to actually optimize that game for each category. Now, optimization typically requires those that work with the console to find ways to make it take advantage of all the console's specific features, right? Mm-hmm. So that implies that any game, anytime a developer chooses to make a game for all the platforms, there is a development team for that console ready to optimize that game. Developer gives maybe a basic, a basic offering, and they take what's there and they optimize it for their specific console of choice. So just like Andre said, it goes back to like the third and fourth generation of gaming to where you have a game on both consoles, but they play vastly different, even though it's by the same company. And both are great, but they still play differently.
Well, here's the one question. Now, if they're going to be optimizing for each console, would they have to release the games at the same time?
That is correct. They do. Okay.
So they would have to release. Okay. I just wanted to be sure.
Simultaneous releases, no favoritism whatsoever. Like, if you finish, let's say if Microsoft finished their version first because they want to do either a lot or a little with it, they cannot release it until the rest are done.
That's fine.
So you want console parity?
That sounds like Grinner's heaven right there.
Because
It would be.
the way I look at that is that, okay, some people are going to own multiple consoles, some are going to own all, some are going to own just one, but it still gives people a choice, a real choice, because each one of those versions, for the most part, are going to have significant differences. Maybe not huge, but significant.
Look, I would be the greedy
There's
gamer.
only one problem with that. Oh, so go ahead.
Go ahead.
I will say I would be the greedy gamer gobbling up everything like Pac-Man.
Yeah, as no one has said, that's exactly what's going to happen.
This version has this feature? Well, that would actually probably be better for the industry if people are excited in that way, because they'll be buying more and they won't regret it. They're like, I can get this feature with this game, but I can do that on that one? Oh,
See,
you must
now,
be
Well,
if there was
I don't know about that because my bank account would be kind of.
But hold on. But before you go on, though, but think about it. As I said, the developers are giving them, the consoles, a basic palette for the game, so a basic build, and the console manufacturers have the choice, whether they want to or not, to build upon it to optimize it for their console. So of course you may not see Wii U features on an Xbox One because basically you have the Game Pass stuff that's going on there. So there may be some things they cannot do.
Legends is a prime example of that.
Exactly, or you may not see the Kinect stuff going to a Wii U because they don't have anything like that. So each version would be significantly different, but they're only playing to their own advantages, which is totally fair. You put that in your console, you should use it. That's more than likely someone bought your console for that feature.
I don't buy consoles for features.
Well, we're talking about game prevalent features, not like stuff that doesn't actually matter to the game.
Well, if it doesn't matter to the game, then
So in other words, I'm not talking about. Let's say it was a fighting game, and Nintendo says, "Well, for our build, we want to add Mario and Link to it." Not something like that, but more like, okay, basically our system has these features, so we can actually make it to where, well, I don't know, with the gamepad, if you jerk it, it makes your character, parry or something.
Nice choice of words there, Dr. Phil Camperboy. Nice.
Well, his name is Dr. Phil Good.
No, Dr. Campergood. That's what I call him now.
The camping doctor is here.
And proud of it, you bastards.
That a boy.
So anyone else to comment on this particular aspect?
Well, I mean, if a game is going to have, or have exclusive, features to their own version of said game, I don't necessarily see that being a problem. It really depends on players' preferences, right? I mean, for example, if somebody, like you said yourself, if somebody were to make it, say, a fighting game, like Street Fighter, for example, and all three platforms get it, Nintendo will have, Nintendo-related costumes or something like that in their game. Maybe not characters, but different outfits, like Link and Mario and maybe somebody else. They can do the same thing, too, as well for, Microsoft can easily have, costumes of, say, Marcus Phoenix, where you can come out looking like Marcus Phoenix or something like that. And Sony can do the same thing on their side. I think it just really depends on what platform of choice that you yourself as a gamer prefer. I mean, people are still getting the same game. It just really all depends for that little extra... I guess that little extra freaking gimmick, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does.
It's like if you look back at what Soul Calibur did, back on the GameCube, right? You had 3 different versions, and they were the exact same game, except each game had its own individual playable character, like Yoda, Darth Vader, and Spawn, right? So it just really all depends on, how you want to look at it.
I think you mixed up Soul Calibur 2 with
Whatever the fuck ever.
No, not 3, 4. I think you mixed up 2 with 4, man.
I don't give a shit, but you see where I'm going with this, man. I don't care if it's fucking Yoda, or I don't care if it's Spawn, I don't care if it's fucking whatever.
Holy crap.
I think it was Link, Hachi, and Spawn.
I'm pretty sure it is.
There was Link for GameCube.
I don't care what version it was. Exclusive character.
Well, if you make a point there, at least get it right.
And the sad thing is that,
to explain myself to you?
Man, beats jack up what you're saying, man. You know we're gonna ride that shit hard.
Fuck you, dog. Shit, bitch.
Oh, damn. I'm sorry. That wasn't very sidekickly of me.
Anybody else?
I'll word it this way. Like if a fighting game comes out and has exclusive characters to each different console, then there you go. Whatever. Fuck it.
Woo!
Yeah, there you go.
I like fighting games with exclusive characters. It makes different versions
I can dig it.
unique.
Yeah, if you look at like Mortal Kombat 9. Mortal Kombat 9 is a prime example that where the Xbox didn't get fuck all, but we got Kratos on the PS3.
It just makes more sense to have to make games, if they're going to be on all platforms, have something that's different about each one of them.
Yeah,
to
way
draw
you're
in the
using it.
crowd.
Exactly.
You know, whether it's a costume, whether it's a character, or some new level, or whatever little feature you can throw into that game that's different.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Koopa, because Tekken Tag Tournament 2 on the Wii U was different to that of what Tekken Tag Tournament 2 was
and I think that would be
Xbox.
more beneficial to everyone, because it's like if people who have all the consoles, yeah, some people aren't going to double dip, but you got some folks that don't mind double dipping, and they're like, I want to get this level for this game, and it's not on the other two, so they go over there. And
exactly, man.
Here's the worst and best example of this.
See, are you listening, third parties? You can make more money if you do this.
Oh,
They're not
actually, you know
gonna
what?
do
You know what? There's one. Hold on, sorry, GPG. There's one prime example of this. Shovel Knight. Shovel Knight on the Xbox is gonna have, on the PSN it's gonna have fucking Kratos, and then on Xbox it's gonna have Battletoads.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, hold on. There might be something. They've already came out.
There
and
might
said
be
that
something
they
for
might
Nintendo.
throw something in there. Yeah, for Nintendo
they
fans.
might-
Oh yeah, relax.
No, but
Yeah, but listen, DSO.
firstly, people went to Yacht Club Games' YouTube channel and cussed them out on the video for
I
the
don't know why
Battletoads.
they're doing that. That's not.
Yeah, but here's the thing: they're an indie studio. They're getting paid to put Kratos
Yeah, they're getting
into
paid,
the PlayStation games.
Yeah,
They're getting
Nintendo can do the
paid
same thing too as well.
Battletoads.
All they have to do is do an update. Boom, there you go. We got
They're
it.
getting
Just
put
support
Battletoads in it.
Yeah, just
Here's
support
all I'm
them
gonna say is
in
this.
games.
If they're gonna put a character into the Nintendo version of Shovel Knight,
I would say
want
Link.
Yeah, I want Link.
I wouldn't fight Link, man.
Hey, it's medieval, so it should be Link.
It should be. If
I mean,
anyone deserves,
Mark Link.
Either Link or maybe
Bowser.
One of the
Bowser.
two.
No,
Well,
no,
Bowser's a good
Link.
choice.
no,
Bowser Ganondorf for Link.
it's got to be
Yeah,
Link.
Koopa.
Have
I
that
guess
down-
that'll be
that-
pimp,
that
dude.
down
That'll be
thrust.
fucking pimp.
So you can have that down thrust.
Yeah, I bet you
like
love
Oh
that
God,
character.
the innuendos
Combination
continue.
words, huh?
You know that one.
I'm gonna actually throw something else in here for you guys. Are you ready for this? I'm pretty sure you guys are gonna like this.
Oh, boy.
Come
Are
on,
you ready
don't-
for this? Dun, 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 dun.
All right.
Spit it out, son. Let's go.
When it comes to the advertising of games, it had to be done and paid for
Oh God, here we go.
by the developers only. So, for
You just,
example,
this is your.
let me finish. So, let's say the developer chose to release a game on the old one console, one platform. They have to pay for the advertising. But if they release it on all the platforms, they still have to pay for the advertising. And they can't leave out, anything like that. The same advertising has to be applied for all consoles. You can't make a really cool commercial for Wii U and then make a bad commercial for Xbox or vice versa. No. Developers have to pay for their own damn advertising.
Oh, that was gross.
Oh, so basically no commercials like Batman Arkham Origins where they have the PS3 and Xbox 360 boxes in the commercial and missing
Yep, no
the Wii U one.
Wii U. Yep.
And
Assassin's
exactly.
Creed 3 and 4 did that too as well.
And also, no one console, advertising the shit out of it while the other one doesn't. None of this preferred shit. From here on out, in this fair industry, I know it's theoretical, the developer, the person who makes the game and chooses the platform or platforms, has to do the advertising.
Highly theoretical.
So,
Yeah,
how you guys feel about that?
That would be great.
I would be with that.
They couldn't afford the money hat to give a little money to these various places under the table, because we see it. It's like GTA, when GTA 5 came out, and you went to IGN and they had GTA 5 splattered up everywhere on that website. They couldn't afford to give that money to people because what's going on behind closed doors.
And
It'd be
And
great.
to add to that, this way, we all know Microsoft has more money than anybody else. There is no way Microsoft could say, well, we want to pay for 6 months of advertising while someone like Sony says we just want one damn commercial. Nothing like that. The developer has to pay. Console manufacturers cannot chip in, cannot help, nothing at all. So this developer has to either make a commercial that represents all the consoles or that one, but there's no preferential treatment.
That'd be
they
awesome.
would be very cautious in how they make their commercial and what they do with it. That's for damn sure.
True.
Because that's going to be a lot of money to... I mean, it probably wouldn't. I mean, you can just
they're making one commercial. If they make a commercial, they're
one
basically advertising all of them.
Logos on the end of it, and you're good to go. It shows every console that's involved with it toward the end of the freaking commercial. But at the same time, I mean, if it's just the developer doing it, they still got to be cautious because that's money coming out of their pocket.
Exactly, and they will be more cautious because this is their own damn money. So they can't sit back and be like, well, Microsoft paid for our advertising, so we don't give a shit. Like, no. They have to be more careful. Because, in other words, developers become more like Nintendo, careful spending. And they have to make sure that what they spend will actually yield benefit.
We probably wouldn't see a lot of commercials like we're seeing right now for Xbox and PlayStation, because the way Nintendo is doing their commercials, which I don't like, but at the same time I get, they're being cautious because they're not using all their money to slap us in the face with an advertisement every 5 seconds. So we probably wouldn't see half as many commercials as we see on TV or anywhere else, and you wouldn't see them all splattered all over ESPN or whoever the heck else or whatever channel else is that are catered to PlayStation and Xbox type channels and stuff like that.
So basically again, then this would fall back to how older generations ran, and you'd have to find out about games either through magazines or word of mouth.
Exactly.
Yep.
Now I'm going to flip this on its head because I do respect individuality very much. If the advertising costs were to be handled by the console manufacturer, there is a strict financial limitation to how much you can spend across the board for advertising.
A budget?
Meaning there is a lawful budget that you cannot exceed. So if you want to blow all your money on a badass 3-minute commercial, that's you. You want to make 10 shitty commercials, that's you. But the budget for advertising is the same across the board. So let's say they made Call of Duty and Activision said we want to do it on all platforms. Well, in this industry, let's just say the limit was $50 million on advertising. Let's just say that was the limit. That's the most you could spend on advertising that game for your particular console. Nothing can exceed that. So that means no one can spend $1 billion and somebody else only spends
to my little mind, who never will ever see a $50 million, that sounds like a lot of money, but to people corporations like these, that doesn't sound like a lot to them.
Well, I mean, you're right, but to be honest, like when it comes to Call of Duty, they spend upwards of over $100 million on advertising.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
So fucking dumb, dude.
Yeah, it just seems like a lot.
You don't even have to advertise that game. All you gotta do is just do one little segment of them announcing the game. Everyone's like, I want it, my dick is hard. There you go.
In that sense, they won't be, I don't know, maybe they won't use cutscenes all the time and they'll actually use gameplay for it. I don't know.
Oh, that's the way I look at it, man. I mean, if they were smart, because even the fact how broad in fucking Call of Duty is, they should use that $100 million that they use for advertising and put that in towards like the actual game to make it better.
Yeah.
Everyone already knows that Call of Duty is coming out every fucking year, man.
Wait, hold on. Hey, Bear, you know you're gonna shave off that beard when you hit 1,000 subscribers?
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Don't do it. That's a magnificent beard. You can put stuff in it too if you need to. You can hide stuff. That's beautiful.
It's not long enough to breathe, bro. Anyways, they should use that money to make more content for the game. Add more shit to it, you know what I mean? Like make like more maps or better weapons. I don't fucking know, but at least something, because everybody already knows that Call of Duty is coming out every year. So all they have to do is announce it just once, and people already fucking have that shit on lockdown on pre-order.
Oh, Bear, I'm about to really screw you over with that. You came up with another great segue.
Oh, son of a fuck.
In terms of franchises, and me and Red spoke about this before the podcast started.
Yeah.
I came up with the rule in this perfectly fair industry.
Oh God.
A franchise can only have one iteration every 3+ years.
Yes,
One.
I agree.
Okay, so
That means no releasing, no annual releases, not even 2-year releases. If you have a franchise, you got to at least be half-assed Nintendo, meaning you can do one every 3 years or one every generation, but no sooner than 3 years. And
Okay.
but to add to that,
okay.
if this particular iteration is supported by DLC, if it is supported, you must support this game throughout the lifespan of that 3 years.
Yep.
That means no release
Okay.
of DLC for a year, and then you stop and start working on the next one.
So that would make perfect sense then to not spend $150 million on advertising and have your game add more content.
Ooh.
Exactly.
Shepard. There you go. Yeah, they can use all that money for advertising. They can sit there and say, well, we already know that our game is going to sell fucking truckloads anyways. They can easily use that money. If they're only going to release it every 3 years, then yeah, make more content. Make it that content stretch across 3 years, which they can easily fucking do. Because if Nintendo can do it with Mario Kart and make that game irrelevant for the entire generation, so can Call of Duty. Fucking, because there's still people to this day that are still playing the original Modern Warfare, for fuck's sake. So if they can do something like that, that would be better, because that would make the franchise a lot more appealing to people. They wouldn't get sick of it all the goddamn time, and plus the sales would actually increase every time a new iteration comes out, not decline.
Exactly. So, but if a game is not supported by DLC, you cannot release the new iteration until at least 3 years has passed.
Well, then they better make the goddamn game full of fucking content like the way Nintendo does, man. If they don't, if you're telling me that they don't want to rely on DLC, and they have to go 3 years without making a next installment, yeah, they're gonna have no choice but to bucker up and polish the fuck out of that game and add so much content to that shit. Make the campaign last longer. Hell, even if you have to download like the multiplayer portion as a separate individual client on your system, fucking so be it. Just do it. That's why I said before, and I'll say it again. If Activision was smart, they did it in China too as well, and apparently I don't know how it's doing over there, but if they were smart, they could have easily done an online-only fucking Call of Duty game that constantly gets updates and can last for a very, very long time.
Anybody
That's
else?
what we're gonna do.
I
hear you,
agree.
Coupon. Go ahead.
I said I agree.
Coupon?
Oh, I have nothing. I pretty much agree. I think that's a good idea.
All right, now we're going to go to something a little bit more, it's more personal to us, and especially when it comes to Shadow. I wish it would have came. But in reference to the media,
Oh boy.
Yeah.
in this gaming industry that is oh so fair,
Uh-huh.
no such thing as review embargoes exist, and the review of a game must be released at least a month before release.
A month?
Meaning a month. Because most games are finished at least 2 or 3 months before release. They just spend time basically doing other shit like some advertising. But a review for a game, the game must be completed, and a review for that game must be out at least a month before release. So
Okay.
none of this shit of, oh no, let's wait till the game release, because that gives people time to complete a game. In other words, no more giving a review based on 10 minutes of play, no more giving a review, playing a franchise or a genre that you know you don't like, and then you saying you don't like the game because it's too hard for you. None of that shit. You have to complete
Fucking
this
good
game,
spot.
and it must be done a month before release. If it's not done, there are consequences, but there's no more shit of holding back reviews until after the game comes out. People deserve to know at least what people think of a game prior to.
Can we have a organization or an agency or something that actually has like a quality assurance for these gaming websites and critics and whatnots? Can we have that too?
True.
In this perfect world.
True, and
So that way.
and to add to this, this is a small, somewhat related aspect. There is no such thing as alphas or betas.
No such thing as alpha or betas.
It's just complete or not complete.
Yeah,
Either
either your
complete your
game
shit-
works or it don't work.
Either you complete your shit and you know it's complete, or you don't complete it and you can't release until it is complete.
Fair enough, but I also think too as well that if we were also in a perfect gaming world, I would love it that the reviews can still be there, but just don't fucking add it up to a number or a goddamn grade.
Yeah, I was gonna get to that. I was gonna get to that next. I was gonna say, just like back in some of the old magazine days, you would have more than one person give a review, and it wouldn't be based on a number. It would be like they have a main person that reviewed the game, and they would say second opinion, and it's typically by someone that doesn't like that genre but still played the game.
Yeah. Yeah, that I'll be okay with, but don't attach a number because I feel that a lot of gamers they
No.
get manipulated by the number system. You know,
No numbers, so no alphas,
And nobody
no
really
betas,
uses the full spectrum.
no
Yeah.
alphas, no beta demos. It has to come out at least a month before the game is supposed to release.
that would be fucking
No numbers,
dog
and
shit.
it must be reviewed by at least two people. A person
And-
that loves the genre and a person
and-
that probably can't stand it.
Let me add to that. Also, too, as well, there has to be no fucking locks behind a review copy of a game. Like
Yeah.
everything has to be there, because I mean, Unity was a prime example where they had the whole entire microtransactions locked, and all public or media sites were not even aware of that until after.
Well, see, that's why I said that like it has
That's
to
why
be
it's got to be completed.
at least before, a month before release, because no more reviews based on playing a portion of a game. You play the whole. It used to be you have to play the whole damn game to give a review.
Yeah.
Now you can play like 20 minutes of them, like, okay, this game is blah, 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 6 out of 10. What? Fuck them bitches, man. Those guys deserve to be smacked in the head. But a month before the game comes out, that's beautiful. Has to be 100% completed. That's beautiful. You can give a review, but don't attach fucking scores to it. And also, get other people to do like a little mini like second opinion reviews. That would be fucking stellar, man. That's how you do a proper review. That's what
And
I'm
just
saying.
to play into what Andre said earlier, we're going back to the fourth generation.
God,
That's basically what it is.
I missed that shit, man. What the
Game
fuck?
Informer.
God
This
damn.
is back
dude.
to the time when I actually liked Game Informer, and they included Fun Factor in their reviews.
Yeah, that was fun.
See, that's why I never bothered.
Fun factor, replay value, things like
There were
that.
little Easter eggs and stuff that I read too in some of the magazines. They would just tell you a few little.
Yeah.
They would let you know there's certain Easter eggs there, but they wouldn't tell you exactly which ones. It was just fun to read those magazines back then because they didn't feed you like false information or their opinion. They just told you what they felt about it, and you left it up to you to make your decision. And nowadays, it just seems like reviews are all about who's more popular. It's just a popularity contest.
One more thing too, as well. Reviewers should also not deliberately like fucking. This is why I don't want a score system anymore. Is because lately reviewers will sit there and take a good game and fucking deliberately give it a bad score just to get clicks on their fucking site. No more of that shit.
Well, that's where the
Fucking
scores
stupid.
Yeah, that's why getting rid of the scores won't help. Will help with that.
Well, help that
No,
out, yes.
but not only that, another thing I can add to that, thanks for the idea, Bear, is like no more flashy article titles. You just put the title of the game and that's
Clickbait
it.
titles, yeah.
Yeah, just put exactly.
Go ahead and put Destiny.
There you go.
The
Simple.
review,
Destiny
Destiny.
Basically, the name of the game and review.
and the review. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And what's so funny is that back in the old days when we used to rely on magazines, they would call them previews, not
Right.
reviews.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
That's what
the
I'm
game
saying.
wasn't released yet, but they did have their hands on a full copy.
Right.
Now there are people out there that will sit there and say, well, it has to have a grade or it has to have a number because or else how would you know the game is good or bad? I'm like, dude, read the
You
fucking
can't
review.
read an article and make your own educated
How many
opinion.
people in this day and age now will just sit there and ignore written review and go right down to the fucking
Yeah, they just
store?
go and look
That's
for
it.
the number, and that's it. They don't need
Exactly.
the reviews anymore. So if you get rid of the
Exactly.
numbers,
And see-
they have to read.
And see, here's a prime example of how you shouldn't trust numbers. Let's say a game got a perfect, say I get a score of 9, and you're like, hell yeah, I want to buy that game. But let's say you're a person, you love multiplayer, and this game has no multiplayer. You just got fooled, or you fell for some shit because you failed to read. You prefer multiplayer, but this is a single-player game that got a 9. You were interested in it, but you didn't know if it had multiplayer or not. Now you just wasted $60.
Now, I will say this. Now, for me personally, if I was a person who was a critic and I was doing my own reviews, this is how I would lay it out. It would have to be gameplay. That would have to be one category that I'll have to talk about. The fun factor, I would like to see that in there too as well, because I feel that all games have some form of fun factor behind it, depending on the person, of course. Music, that's definitely something that I would put in there too as well, because I find that soundtracks tend to get overlooked majorly bad. And the fourth one I would talk about is just like the presentation, and then the last one would be like if there's any form of online for it. That's it. That's how I would flat out write my fucking review.
Anybody else?
Oh, okay. So I was about to say, did I just kill the chat? My bad.
No, I agree.
mean,
Except I would go with like first I do gameplay because that's the most important. That's the biggest.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, gameplay.
Thing.
Yeah.
Gameplay. Then I do graphics. Like what graphical style the game's in. Then I do music because that's important. Then I do replayability, and then the last thing would be like some extra tidbit that might sway the reader.
Yeah, for me, like presentation would be like where like I would talk about everything, like the visuals, the atmosphere, and everything else like that, and whatnot. And then like the last bit of section would be like, you know, the last little bit would be like replay value, you know, the amount of content that's in the game, and if I'll, you know, that kind of shit like that. That's the way I, you know, I mean, me personally, I've always wanted to write my own reviews, but I'm terrible at writing because my fucking spelling sucks dick. But whatever.
Well, you in this scenario, well, most places have editors or people that are proofreading and stuff like that, and they can touch it up for you. But that's a different thing.
But another thing I will emphasize, though, like when it does come to like my last little bit of the review, I can't stress this enough, though, is I explain to the user who reads the review exactly how much content is in that game. Because I feel that lately I've been reading a couple reviews, specifically like the recent example for Tipping Stars. There's a lot of information that that a publication site will not add to the game that I feel is crucial to the consumer before buying that said product. And to me, when they leave shit out like that, that's misinformed information. So a lot of people wouldn't even think to even bother, like, oh wow, I didn't know this was in the game. What the fuck? IGN never said that. I hate fucking reviews that don't do that shit. That's why I started that series on my channel Overview, man.
And give these journalists some kind of incentive, something that will keep them from requiring some stupid, like, you know, under the table type of crap. Like,
Yeah.
Pay them more.
Yeah, that.
No.
Here's something I actually want for journalists in the gaming community. I want them to have to get a freaking degree. They need a freaking journalist degree. Not I'm a journalist, I can do. No, you need a freaking.
No, they say they're a writer, but they aren't journalists.
No, screw that. You need to go to school. These journalists need to go to school. That's what they need to have. They need to have that actual something on their belt to show that they are that they follow that code, the journalist code, that they have something plausible and they can be trusted in their, you know, in what they do. Because this whole, I have a website, I can be a journalist, and no, you don't have no credentials. What? No, they need credentials.
Well, to be honest, a lot of the journalists out aren't actually journalists, and I think Ray has said it plenty of times. They're bloggers.
And that's exactly what I mean.
They're bloggers.
The way I look at it is like how a lot of employees that work at GameStop don't know anything about gaming at all. Period.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
To me, that's a damn shame.
It is. It is. Yes.
They're fanboys who work.
That's another thing too as well. That's another thing I will say right now too as well. There, Dr. Cam Good, is that
Fucker.
That's your name to me now, motherfucker. I don't care. But here's the thing. Also, too, as well, I feel that, yes, people who do reviews have to have knowledge or have to have some kind of experience or something like that with the genre of a game that they are going to review. For example, I've seen this time and time again, is that every time when I see a review, say for whether it be Dynasty Warriors, you go on IGN, the guy's never touched the Dynasty Warriors game, the game reflects that and gets a negative score. However, a lot of people will sit there and argue the fact, like, well, if you get somebody who does like the franchise, they're automatically going to give it a good score. And that's not entirely true. If you look back at like the way Jim Sterling does his stuff, he's a huge fan, but he still critiques the fuck out of the game, and the score reflects that. You know what I mean? But a lot of these fucking games that come out, like Hyrule Warriors, probably would have got a lot of better fucking score if people that actually play that game were fans of Dynasty Warriors and were fans of fucking Zelda, not just one or the other.
Even so, but I mean, at the end of the day, I just need someone to have some kind of credentials, because how am I supposed to trust you if you are just some random person who popped up suddenly, made a website, got a bunch of people together, and started making reviews. And now
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
There's
you're
some of
absolutely right,
them-
Coupon. You're
Some of
absolutely
them you
right.
can trust, but it's just far and few in between. And
But it's
that's
not
what-
even that, though. It's just the fact, like, the moment everybody looks at a review, like, whether it be a review that I did or a review that Coupon did or you did, GVG, or Camperboy did over there, fucking, yeah, it's always different.
But see,
People
how
are
about
like,
but
I don't
see-
like that guy's review, you know what I mean?
But to add to it, when reviews come out, the names of who did the reviews, no go, not there. You
Yeah.
get
See, no,
credibility.
that I don't agree with. That I do not agree with.
Well, see, the
I
reason I say that it's because some people just automatically gravitate towards one and just automatically trust this person just regardless.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, though, if somebody literally screws the pooch on a review, then they can't be really held accountable for it.
Yeah, because I may
That's
sit there and like do
I
a
can see
review
that.
for, let's say, fucking like Tipping Stars, and I can preach the fuck out of that game. Coupon will go and she'll read my review and she's like, okay, and then she'll download it and she'll play for a couple minutes. She'll be like, this game is nothing like what the review stated, or she doesn't like it as much as I liked it, whatever the case may be, and then she'll give that said person, or which in this case will be me, shit for it. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. So you have to be careful when you do write your review, because you got to make your review at least neutral. You can't make yourself sound like a fanboy. That's why it's very critical, man. The way I look at it is like, if you're going to do a review for a game, you have to try to be as non-biased as you possibly can. I know it's very hard to do, but that's just the reality of it, man. If you want to have a legitimate, straightforward, neutral review, you can't show yourself being biased towards fucking liking it, and you can't, show yourself being biased that you hate it. You have to be fucking straight up neutral with it.
I think you can, as long as you like put that information out there ahead of time. But like, well, look, I like this genre, so I may find more
Yeah, if you
enjoyment
do it like
in it
that,
than
yeah,
you
yeah, I
do.
guess that makes sense. Yeah, if you do it
But
like that,
if
The
you're
thing
something
is-
like puzzle games. And
The
whatnot,
thing
right?
is that it is impossible to
Yeah.
be neutral about things. You either like something or you dislike it, or you could care less about it. But you're gonna have a reaction about it. What you can do is make it clear to your viewership or your readership, depending on whether or not you're doing a visual review or a written review. This is my rubric. This is what I use to determine if a game has merit to me. And once people understand that rubric, you can tell them, okay, by all measures of what I use as a rubric to tell me if a game is worth my time or not worth my time, this game failed in that regard, so it does not measure up to the standards that I've set as how I review games. That's just how you get. That's how books are reviewed. That's how restaurants are reviewed. That's how
movies are reviewed.
That's how movies are reviewed, and that's just how it is. There are games that I might not like, but I recognize that on a technical level they're good.
Yeah.
There are movies that I might hate, but I realize on a technical level they might be good. There are books that I could care less about, but on a technical level they are good. But you can't really be like, well, you have to be completely neutral, because if you had a truly neutral review, it would be one of the most boring reviews ever.
And it would be confusing.
The game is okay.
It works well.
It works well. Yeah,
Has nice graphic style.
The graphic style is perfectly serviceable.
I can use the controls work, I guess.
The art style suits the world of the game.
Music's pretty catchy, but
The music
find
is
it offensive.
alright.
Well, I don't mean like, okay, look, I don't mean neutral in the sense of the way you guys are describing it. I mean like neutral in the sense of like not trying to make yourself sound like a rapid
Neutral.
fanboy.
You know what you meant. It's just nobody in this planet Earth is neutral.
No, I know. That's what I mean.
And
It's impossible to do it, but I would like to see something like that happen. But
it's just like Red Fox said. Just let people know flat out where you stand with your particular taste in games and whatnot. So that way they're not, blindsided by your review.
But if a game is truly terrible, please be like, look, this game is a piece of shit.
If you are sitting with Sonic 06, you better warn the person.
Yeah.
Look, that may be one game I might end up buying just for the fuck of it.
No, trust me, I got it.
Don't even warn warn him.
do
Let
it.
him buy
That
it.
game
Let
is
him buy it.
horrible.
No.
No, go ahead. Do
No,
it.
I'm
do
telling
it.
you the truth.
You know what? I'm gonna go get Arnold Schwarzenegger and
Look.
Michael Biehn, and we're gonna send them to save you from buying that game because
No.
you don't want to do it.
Trust me, I knew going in that was a bad game. The only reason I bought it,
You're a Sonic fanboy. That's why.
you know what? Screw you.
Motherfucker got
The only reason I bought it, for one, it was $5 when I got it.
Oh well,
Two.
shit, man. That's
Oh, whatever, yeah.
That
That
was
game is dirt
$5
cheap.
too
Man.
much.
I can find that in the bargain bin for fucking $2.99 right
Yeah.
now, anyway. So I don't.
If
Give
it's
a
even
When I bought it,
around
Two, when I had bought it, I had played Sonic Unleashed on the Wii, and I was kind of curious as to how the story went. The music is great in that game. The visuals are okay in that game. The gameplay is horrible.
what, Sonic 06.
Yes, it's horrible.
Yeah, yeah.
The best thing about that game is its music. That's
The
it.
best thing about that game is that you can turn it off.
Oh, that's messed up.
Smart fucking decision, man.
That's just wrong. That's wrong.
And if you have the disc, you can take it and snap it in half. That's the best thing about that game.
Or you can use it as a weapon in times of emergency.
No, I wouldn't even know, because I mean that would bring utter shame on someone. How did you die? I was killed by a broken
Sonic 06
broken
disc.
Sonic 06. Oh well, you were gonna get into heaven. When we found out you died from Sonic 06, we had to kick you out. You gotta go to the place down south that's hot all the time.
Oh man. But you are partially right. I am a bit of a Sonic fanboy. But I'm a Sonic fanboy in the sense that I will tell you if a Sonic game sucks. And I don't care. Well, you get mad at me all you want.
Well, I'm a Mario franchise fanboy, but I'll tell you right now, Mario, where in the world is Mario is terrible. Nintendo
Mario
tricked
is
us into
missing?
playing. Yeah, Nintendo tricked us into playing an educational game.
Hey, that's your own fucking fault for not doing your own goddamn
No,
research.
the game description on the back of the box says nothing like what you would think the game
No.
is.
Yeah,
They
but see,
talk
that's
about
big.
going on an
But see,
adventure.
again,
and
Like
seeing
Luigi
Mario.
goes
Look,
on
look,
an
again,
adventure
you
to
said it
find-
yourself. You said it yourself. Back then, you had to do your own goddamn
It's a
research.
It
Kingdom game.
says no. It said that the back of the box says Luigi goes on an adventure around the world to rescue his brother. Now, if you're coming off of playing Super Mario World, what would you think?
You would think you running around the Mushroom
Well,
Kingdom.
the first thing I would do is like back then when I used to be a fucking hardcore Nintendo Power fucking fanboy, research. That's what you're supposed to do.
Nintendo Power didn't have shit in there about.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. There was an actual fucking issue that covered that entire game from fucking top to bottom.
Well, I didn't get that.
That's how I
issue.
knew it was an educational
know
fucking
what?
game. That's why I didn't buy it.
I got that game. I bought that game, and I finally I figured out. I was like, I had to learn geography to play that damn game. Even now,
Well, it's educational, man. It's gonna wreck your
God.
brain somehow, dude. What better way to do it than Mario? Mario's been
Nintendo tricking me. Well, you know, Nintendo's been tricking me to learn for years. One of the first games my parents got me was Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past on the SNES. And damn, I mean, you're a 5-year-old. You have to learn to read on a level that most
game
5-year-olds.
my fucking life, dude. When
Yeah, that is not a game that a 5-year-old's reading comprehension level is
Look,
at to
that's
play
not a
well.
game you want to have in your possession when you're in elementary school, because every fucking time when you have to go to school and you can't play Zelda, you start jittering. Like you're on cocaine or some shit. You start fucking, you know, like...
No, it didn't go that far, but
It was for me, dude. That's how good that game was.
I did start dreaming about puzzles in that game. I was like, man, how am I going to solve that puzzle? And I go to sleep and I dream about the block puzzles in my head and how to solve them.
And then when you wake up, you actually try to do the puzzle, like, oh, okay, it's nothing like what I just dreamed about. Fuck.
No, actually, I would
You
solve
gotta
some of those
say.
puzzles in my head and then wake up and do
I
it.
had jitters. I had jitters in grade school when I first got Link to the Past. Man. I would go to school at lunchtime, or I'd go home at lunchtime. I'll play it, and I didn't want to go back to school. I just did not want to leave, and I had no choice to, because my mom would kick me out of the house and tell me to go to school. And I would sit there, and like I'd be sitting there in class, and my fucking feet would be fucking just shaking. My arms would be like, I want to get home. I want to get home. And every
just impatient.
fucking minute of the day, that theme song of the Overworld, man, would just sit there and play in my head. It was it killed me, man. And when
Well-
I finally beat it, I was like finally cured of like some kind of like Zelda disease. It was fucked up.
I will say this much: Nintendo, their games are so damn addictive. They should have a thing on there. Hey,
Warning.
This
Warning,
game
will cause addiction.
exactly.
Yeah,
This
exactly.
game will cause addiction. I just want to
Warning.
let you
This
know.
game will make you not want to put the controller down.
Exactly.
Or they should
Oh
say
man,
warning.
we kind of went way
Possible
off
cause of
topic though.
Yeah, we did.
Well, that's what happens when you have gamers at large members on a podcast.
Oh no!
I mean, hey, that's why I didn't sit and try to stop you. You didn't hear me say anything like, "Let's get
Yeah,
back on
no.
topic." Like, no, we'll let you think.
No, let's get back on point.
Let's finish this diagnosis.
But overall, from everything we talked about, do you think these things we discussed will make the gaming industry fair, more or less?
Fuck yeah, it would, dude.
Yeah.
Hell
Damn,
yeah.
you stole the words right out my mouth. Damn it, Bear.
Okay, I have one question though.
I'm gonna do that, bitch.
That we all talked about. Can it be broken by something?
Yes.
Can it be broken? I mean, yes, it
can,
can
absolutely.
be broken, and it can be broken basically by just the will of
Corruption.
of people and money.
What I'm
fucking
saying is-
C did
Because
that.
what I'm saying is, like, you're saying that this is like some kind of perfect world, and this is what happens in the gaming industry. I'm asking because if something can tarnish that, then I don't think it'll work at all because I'm a cynical heifer, and that's just the way it is. But if
Just make fun of your. Oh my God, woman. Come
I'm
on.
just saying, if nothing can happen, then I think it will work. Well, my father's in the other room. I don't want to use too much language, but yes, cynical heifer.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. I won't
I'm just
fuck with
saying because if it will work, I think it will work. It would be nice, but I just
The
don't
only
see
way-
that happening.
The only way that it could be done where nothing could disrupt it is that there would have to be legal means in place that would block certain actions from
Well,
being able to take
See,
place.
when the seventh generation kicked off, man, like when DLC was just starting, everybody was kind of like skeptical about it, but like not a lot of games did it. But then like 3-4 years in, when like the new dashboard update came out on the 360 when I had it,
Yeah.
everything went from like, you know, it was okay
Look,
down the fucking tanker, man.
you've just hit on the reason why I don't have any respect for Microsoft's Xbox. They introduced this shit that helped bring this industry down with that damn hard drive. Oh, you don't need to ship a complete game.
Sony can be just as blamed for that too as
just-
well because they did have a hard drive as well.
But it started out with the Xbox.
I don't
The
think
original
it was
Xbox.
One company though, they all had some practices.
Yeah, they all
that
exactly.
and that was
Thank you,
crappy.
Thank you.
Well, I
And
mean,
Nintendo, and I think
to be
it sucks
totally
because
honest,
there's nothing set in stone to keep people straight and narrow. It's just a bunch of people thrown in together, making up their rules as they go, and us as consumers buying into that crap, and that's why our industry is the way it is.
But we
get-
can thank gaming hitting the mainstream though, and I think that has a little bit to do with
And, yeah, when it went mainstream, it definitely screwed things
which
over. too.
Nintendo is technically to blame on that because if they didn't do the whole
the Wii.
gimmick with the motion gaming stuff and they never ushered in that new crowd,
Yeah, the Wii
developers
was
would have never found a way to exploit the fuck out of your wallet, man.
Yeah, the Wii is to blame for mainstreaming. So sorry, Nintendo's. You know, thanks for that, but no
But
thanks.
I was also going to say, though, to be truthfully honest, if you wanted to say console DLC, I think Nintendo did do that first.
Yep.
They may have only done it in Japan with the Satellaview, but they did do it first.
Yeah, they did. They did.
They might not have gone off the. They may
Yeah,
not
but
have fallen off the
Wasn't
boat.
this a Teleview only in Japan?
That's what I said. It may have
Yeah, but
only
at
been
the
in
same time,
Japan.
didn't they have a
And-
different
They still
format?
did it.
Didn't they have a different idea behind it? And
Yeah, so Teleview was Nintendo's was basically like a channel that you ordered off of your cable thing. You just ordered a channel. You got a little thing.
They actually did have a card for it.
Yeah,
kinda
there
like
was a
a camera.
cartridge that you got sent, and you plugged it into your NES, and you got stuff. But it was like a channel. It was one flat rate that you paid for. It
Kinda
wasn't like it wasn't.
That sounded like Sega
And
Channel.
here's the thing:
Yeah, like
you
Sega
got
Channel, yeah.
it was like the Sega. Well, Sega stole it from them, but they made it more widespread in the U.S. It's not like the DLC that is now, where they're like, oh, here's 70% of a game that's complete, and we'll fix it later after it's released when people complain and bitch about it, and we got their money, and we'll we'll fix it later.
I didn't say they made the bad practices.
That's
I said
a
they
completely
introduced
different
DLC to consoles.
yeah,
See, they introduced DLC to consoles. I did not say that they followed the bad business practices.
yeah, that's what I thought. I don't think they.
I won't say they introduced DLC to consoles. I'll say if you want to go back, way back, the Intellivision had an add-on that was only used in one small town where they tested it, where you could order games through your phone into your console. I mean, if you want to, if you go back far enough, you can find someone who did it before on a smaller scale.
You gotta go with what actually worked and stuck. We can't go with something that didn't.
What was
Well,
slightly
hell, the
successful?
Saddle View didn't work. It was only in Japan, just like the Nintendo DD drive was only in Japan, and that was only in a small part of Japan too. So I mean, I can't really say that
As bad as it is, I
really worked.
people that actually got it.
You
I
know?
know.
This DLC is taken out of. It's not being used in the proper sense of the term, the way it should have been used, and that's why it sucks. It's being used in a greedy format, and that's just the way it is. So.
It
used to be actual downloadable content.
It was an expansion. It was like
It was to expand on a game. It was to like if there's
No. But see, here's the difference, and I have to give credit to Red Knight for this. When DLC was first introduced, like mainstream, back in the early 360 days or whatever, what happened? What we had then was that with Guitar Hero. So to me, that was ALC, add-on content.
Yeah.
Basically, you had a full game, and we had this additional stuff that we couldn't squeeze in there on time, or we got these ideas after release, so we want to give it to you. And basically, in the beginning, it was free.
Yeah.
And then they started charging small prices for it. But now we have DLC, which to me, it stands for
content?
No, it stands for two things: deliberately left out content, or it stands for downloadable content.
Damn.
Yes.
That's
bullshit.
Well, I mean, let's be frank. We've seen. Okay, remember Mass Effect 3, where they completely lost, where they had the Prothean DLC. And like it turned out it was in the game, and they just locked it out so that they could charge you for it later to unlock it.
Yeah.
Actually, DLC stands for downloadable crap.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
unless Nintendo does it.
Well, then that's add-on content at that point.
Basically, but I'm just, I don't know. With DLC, I kind of been
That's
turned
why you
off
gotta
to
be
it.
very wary with what kind of DLC you're gonna get, because you just gotta really look at the game. Does the game look complete to you? Does it feel complete when they present it to you? And if it doesn't, and they're screaming about DLC, that is the stuff that should have been on that game to begin with. Whether they made it after, or they took it out of, or it's a freaking key you're getting to unlock on the disc, it doesn't matter. The freaking content isn't with that disc for some odd reason, because the game doesn't feel complete, and you're being dicked around, and you need to express
Well,
that.
at least I can say this about Ubisoft. They told us up front when they were going to dick us with DLC.
Yep.
They told us up front with Watch Dogs.
Right?
But you know what though, and that's why I came up with the question of, if a game is supported by DLC, it must be supported the entire time until the new iteration comes out. Not you stop 6 months to a year before. You must support that game the entire time. And if you because think about it, if you want to make sure your game sells, and not just for the first month, those that played the game aren't going to most of them are not going to keep on playing that same game with no additional content. In other words, imagine Destiny without any add-on. Like, imagine doing those same amount. Imagine Destiny when there were no extra guns you could get, no extra levels. Imagine playing that same game for 2 years straight.
No.
You know the sad thing? The sad thing in Destiny's case, there are free to play games that have more expansions than Destiny does. That you can actually play for free and get more stuff in the game, and it still has stuff that you can purchase for in the game that you don't have to pay for.
Yeah.
And see, another thing I thought about is like, if you really want to get to the bare bones of this, a developer could make so much more money if they were actually forced and took time out to make sure a game, remained relevant and stayed appealing over the course of 2, 3, 4 years. Like, if you look at Mario Kart in the first 2 AOC packs, it's like they basically gave you half a game within the first year, and they gave it to you for a fraction of the cost. Last time I checked, the game came out at $60, and it's still $60
Yep,
to this day. Half the
and to
game is
buy
$30.
both packs, I think is what? Buy both packs together is $12, and it's like what, 15 if you buy them separately.
Yeah, but I mean, like, people are like, Nintendo's doing this and it's brand new, but they were doing this on PC like 15, 20 years ago. They called them expansions.
Yep.
Exactly.
Like, you would get a game, you'd spend $50 on the game, and then like maybe like a year and a half after that game came out, you probably had beat it. They'd be like, hey, here's $20, you get an expansion. It's like 50% more game or 60% more game, and that was awesome.
And the only other company I know that is actually created DLC that's actually worth the cost was Rockstar when it came to Grand Theft Auto 4.
Yep. Well, maybe the Ballad of Gay Tony, not the Lost and the Damned.
Yeah,
I mean, I ended up with I spent $20 and got the whole set.
I did too, but the Ballad of Gay Tony was my favorite though. That one was fun. And not because it
says Gay Tony.
Gay Tony, but because it was that was GTA becoming fun again and not taking itself way too seriously. They're like, we have to tell a story about immigration and the lost American dream. I'm like, I just wanna beat someone up while wearing a fur costume. Is that too difficult?
Well, I have a surprise for you guys. I actually have no more aspects or questions I can add to make a perfect industry, or so I say a fair industry. Unless you guys
have defeated your questions.
I only got one thing that can make this industry perfect. Right now, they create a consumer protection agency for gamers, but the penalty isn't financial, like fines or anything. They send a big black guy named Ben to these people's houses after they make a crappy game and okay it to come out and they know it's broken, and he beats them with a sock with
batteries in it.
Dude,
with batteries in it.
Way too fucking hard into this fucking shit, dude.
And
God
you know, look, they get visited. Look. After Yves Guillemot gets visited, after Yves Guillemot gets visited like 3 or 4 times, I guarantee that we'll get some better games out of Ubisoft and Activision.
That's wrong. But why does his name gotta be Ben?
Yeah, why?
Okay, well, because it's better. Because because Ben sounds like it would go
like
good
nice
with
guy.
a big black guy named Ben.
No.
Ben actually sounds like a nice dude.
Why don't we send a Hispanic dude? Why don't we send a big burly white guy? Why I gotta just be
Should I call him Leroy Skillet?
No.
I'm just saying, I get the deception of the name because Ben sounds like a dude you want to sit down and hang out with.
Not this Ben.
Like,
I'll just call my guy Biological. There you go.
Not Ben.
And there you have it, folks. The typical behavior of the real gamers at large.
Ben ain't having it.
I have nothing to do with this. I'm still a hostage.
No, you're not.
You
actively participated.
I'm still a hostage.
Coupon's all tied up to her chair with her headphones on.
Yep, I definitely am.
Hold on, guys. Coupon, you sound like these lying-ass developers out there.
I'm totally a hostage.
And that's why I said you got to send Ben out there, and he'll take care of him.
Oh, man. No, I think...
I don't understand why you don't buy my games and stuff. I worked. I have to feed my family. You should buy my games.
You know.
Well, I got to work to feed my family, too, so
That's
fuck
what
you.
most developers do.
I'm on a tight budget, so I'm not going to buy a fucking game like Evolve and be like, yeah, this game is good, guys. Go up and buy Evolve.
Yeah. Yeah. And we really need to send Ben after the Evolve guys. Oh, really? $350 on top of the $60 they already spent on the damn game? I got something for you.
I was kind of interested in the whole play as the monster aspect, and I was like, as soon as I heard, oh, this game is built for DLC, I'm nope.
Yep.
I was like, oh, okay, that's all I needed.
I was
to
like,
know.
well, and I think somebody else had already said that, but the game should be free if you're building it around
DLC.
Like, at least let people get into the game for
It
free.
sounds like a free-to-play game, which is not. You want me to spend $60, then the extra.
You want me to spend $60 for 3 monsters and then pay you $15 for each additional monster?
No. On top of that, if you want to play as one of the coolest monsters in the game, you had to buy the special edition, like pre-order bonus edition, which was $125.
Nope. Nope.
Not this one. That's what.
Yeah, I mean it's
payment.
It's just I'm like, you
look,
are so full of shit.
I'll wait for a free-to-play version that is a clone of that to come out because you know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, it is.
Wow. Anyone else got anything to add before we sign off?
The only other thing I can say, like I said before, there would have to be like some sort of legal group, like some legal gaming group of lawyers that will jump down the throats of false advertising and lies by publishers and developers.
Yep.
Well, I mean, yeah, I can agree with that, but just like back in the old days when Nintendo was basically a mafia leader, a mafia head.
There was the
Basically,
Yakuza.
when you have to create, foot the bill for advertising, production, everything, the disc, everything you have to do for this game, are you really going to try to lie to your customers, knowing that once they find out the truth, your thing is going to flop?
Well, I don't know about that, but I tell you this much.
When all the risk is on you want to go on a straight and narrow.
No, I understand what you're saying, but I tell you this much: if a big black guy named Ben was coming to their place after the game dropped,
stop with the big black guy.
Let Ben go.
Let Ben go back home to his family. Man.
Here's something I got. Okay, so remember when Nintendo did the seal of quality? You know, the little Nintendo seal of quality and stuff. I think it would be interesting if Sony and Microsoft had the same thing, and because they have to have this, that's where that that little corporation, whatever you were talking about, comes in, where they have to have these games have a seal of approval that it's been through all the necessary.
It has
QAs.
to have a series of quality tests.
Yeah, all the necessary QAs and whatnots and whatever tests and stuff to make sure that it has a seal of approval before it goes on the freaking market, so you know without a definitive doubt that this game is going to work. And if it has a few little glitches here and there, that's fine, because every game's going to have a glitch here and there.
But major game-breaking stuff.
A game that works still, and it has content and it has all the good stuff. And I want something like that for a seal of a freaking approval that it went through.
Nintendo already.
I'll tell you right now, because Microsoft and Sony are so third-party dependent, that would destroy them. If they were forced to say, "Oh, you can't put this on the console if this game is broken," Bethesda would go out of business.
I mean, they set themselves up on that for that. They set themselves up to be dependent on third parties. So if third parties just woke up one day and said, we don't want to make games for Sony and Microsoft, what do you think will happen to them? They're gone. And who's left? Nintendo, because they don't need third parties.
It's kind of like a parasitical relationship. Third parties need
Are parasites.
a market. Well, they're parasites, but they need a host. Their host is Microsoft and Sony. Sony and Microsoft have made it very easy for them to get what they want out of the market. But I mean, they don't realize they have the power. If they say, you know what, you can't put a broken game on our system. If you do, we're going to drop the hammer on you.
Nintendo already got the buzzer pellet ready.
Yeah, but at the same time, if they started, trying to take back that money that they've been money-hatting all the time, they wouldn't be able to survive on their own to get that industry back under their, foot. They wouldn't be able to do it like Nintendo did because they
don't have the first party to carry them.
They set themselves up for failure. They don't make enough exclusives on their own to sustain themselves.
Well, you know what, Coupon, that does bring up something I did ask in the first part. And I took out of this one, but I just wanted you guys to chime in on it. The question I asked on the first one was, what if every platform had to make their own games in-house? No paying someone else, no asking for help. You have to make your own games. Like if there was no second party, no third party, This is just one, version. If there was only, if you release a console, you got to make your damn games for it.
Well, Sony would be
Sony and Microsoft wouldn't survive.
First off, Sony and Microsoft. Well, Sony might last a little while, but I think it would be Nintendo and Sega that would actually last. And because you said Sega would be the other console company, so Nintendo and Sega would be the ones that would last.
Yeah.
Microsoft and Sony would.
Yeah, they're the only ones that are actual pure console manufacturers.
But then again, if this were institutionalized before Sony came about, Sony might actually last a little while.
Yeah.
I don't know about Microsoft though.
Microsoft will bow out because they don't really need the Xbox brand to be.
Microsoft would do.
They don't need it.
If they have to obey all the other rules of this fair industry, all Microsoft would do is make a Halo every 3 years.
Yeah, well, not even that. I mean, like Coupon says, really, all Microsoft really needs to do is just. I mean, they could easily move their Xbox division over to PC.
Yeah.
Just be like, okay, it's not Xbox, it's Windows. It's games for Windows Live. There you go.
Yeah.
You know what though? That may already been in planning because now that you bring up Windows and migrating to Xbox, aren't they about to release Windows 10?
Pretty much, yep.
Xbox Live will be free for PC gamers.
And so, think about that. Xbox Live is over 10 years old. It released in Windows 10. Xbox start with an X, which is
10.
Look, all I'm gonna say is this. Considering the amount of money they've lost in the Xbox division, and Big Money Ballmer is not there anymore to kind of hide the losses. I mean, and the investors are barking up the tree, banging on the door, asking for their money. I mean, at this point, it makes a lot of sense for Microsoft to be like, you know what? Just the next Xbox is just going to be on. It's going to be a digital platform, if you will.
That's what they're doing right now. Yeah, pretty much.
It's going to be a digital platform because it's not worth. I mean, even though they have the money to burn, it doesn't look good for you to burn money like that and get nothing out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't.
Just pretty much setting it up so they can just. At some point, I think they'll get rid of Xbox altogether. It'll just be Windows.
It'll just be Windows, yeah.
It'll just be Windows. You can play Xbox Live on Windows for free. I mean, that's a no-brainer. Everybody should be looking at it like, why do I have an Xbox then? Or why do I want to pay for that shit?
Well, that would basically turn the Xbox game into, well, like you just said, streamed.
Yeah.
Basically. Well, I mean, it won't. I don't mean it'll necessarily be streamed, but if you have a smart TV that has a hard drive on it, or a PC or a Steam box. Heaven forbid, and that can handle a Windows OS, you'll basically be able to play your so-called quote-unquote Xbox game.
Yeah, but I don't know. Sony, they might. I mean, just assuming Sony was established after this, this whole scenario that you set up came in, then they would probably survive it because that would be their norm. But if they came, if it is how they are now, where they were here, then the scenario is set up, they won't survive because looking at them now with how they're closing down everything and they seem to just be trying to focus solely on PlayStation, but it's not.
No. I got one word. One word as to why they wouldn't survive. Knack.
Yeah, well, their first party games.
I'm not even gonna say I think Knack is a bad game.
It is a bad game. I played it. Their first party games are not good. What they used to be. They aren't
horrible, but it's not great. But then they're pushing back Uncharted. So I mean, come on, it's like they really couldn't sustain themselves alone without help from third parties.
That's what makes me wonder why they poured so much money into stuff that they can't really afford to do, like the smart car thing.
Well, smart car. No, I'll tell you what I mean by Sony makes some bad decisions. The Order 1886 came out a few weeks ago. That game has roughly between 5 to 10 hours of gameplay. It looks great, but it's at 1080p, 30 frames per second, and
visually stunning.
Yeah, it's visually stunning. But it only has 5 to 10 hours of gameplay time. It's not replayable, and it was made by a studio that's had this game in development for 4.5 years.
So you got an hour of gameplay per year.
Basically. I mean, I think spending that much. I hope they didn't spend $50 million on that game. I really hope they didn't.
It just seems Sony and their whatever their first parties or whatever. In some sense, it seems they lack some kind of management, some kind of money management and time management.
No. What they lack is one thing Nintendo has always put first: creative vision.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, like, I don't know, that too. They haven't had creativity.
I'm not going to say they lack I'm not going to say they lack creative vision. They lack creative vision for gaming.
Yeah, because they're pretty good at everything else that they do.
Theoretically, if The Order 1886 was a CGI movie, everyone would love it.
Yeah, and
no one would be mad about it. They'd be like, "Hold on, I got to see. I got to watch."
Because I mean, it's definitely beautiful. It's gorgeous. No doubt about it, but it's supposed to be a game, so I played this game for all of 5 to maybe 10 hours, no replay value.
I've heard that the gameplay is nice, but it's just boring.
Well, no, you didn't really play a game. You really just kind of made it.
Press some buttons.
All the order was a game assignment on a CGI scale.
Yeah, it looks great, but it's so. I mean, it's very cinematic, and I mean that in a.
Oh, you sound like IGN. Oh my god.
No. When I say it's cinematic, I mean it's like watching a 5-hour-long movie.
Yeah, but Red Flash, notice how you keep going back to the whole cinematic. It looks good. All of us are saying the same thing.
It looks great. It looks great. It's not a very good game, but
it's the only thing we can glom onto. That is the only thing we can glom onto as far as a positive, because that's all there is to it, and it's fine if people who enjoy the game are playing it. I really hope you guys are out there. I'm not shitting on the game. It's just we're
shitting on it. Y'all are shitting on it.
We're shitting on it. Yeah.
I'm not shitting on it.
No,
I'm
okay, let me put
not
this way.
shitting on it. That's just all there is to it.
The Order 1866 is like a facade. You know, a facade's the front of the house. Like, if you watch those old Western TV shows, like they'd show the town, but those were just facades. So the front looked like an actual house, but the inside was just like a prop holding up the facade. Well, that's what the Order 1866 is. It looks gorgeous, but there's not a lot of substance to it.
Yeah. And no, I'm not shitting on the game. It's just, that's a fact. It's beautiful. That's it.
But yeah, exactly.
There's nothing more you can say.
Well,
it's like a really hot girl. It's like a really hot girl.
She's a really hot
gorgeous,
dumb girl.
But she opens her mouth and there's nothing going on in her head.
Really hot guy.
Oh my god. Okay.
But here's my thing. The Order 1886 is a steampunk game, right?
Mm-hmm.
We got a steampunk game coming out tomorrow, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which would you choose?
Okay. On that note, with the Flame War.
What steampunk game's coming out tomorrow?
I'm just saying. Listen, though, a $40 game that may net you like 60, 70, maybe 80 hours of gameplay. Or a $60 game that can net you 5 to 10 hours of gameplay, which makes more sense.
I mean, I'm a grown-ass man. I don't play cartoons.
Fuck you. I play cartoons. I watch cartoons. I like Bugs Bunny, motherfucker.
Yeah, I'm going with Project Steam personally. I'm sorry.
Bear, what about you, man? You
don't want to support a strong black man like John Henry?
Hold up. But
that's what Bear got to say.
But I thought we didn't like Codename Steam because of that guy whose voice acting.
You know what? No. Look, I got. Hold on. Wait. I got one thing to say to that. This dude, Will Wheaton, he's a dick. But guess what? He's already been paid. He has already been paid.
Look, Wesley Crusher's always been a dick.
Buy the game or not.
But if you think Wesley Crusher is going to stop me from playing Project Steam, you're out of your mind.
And I was going to do a video on that.
People find the stupidest things to be mad about a game. He's a voice actor. Who cares? He got paid already.
Getting ticked off of Nintendo.
You got paid already, you guys. Play the game. Shut up.
Look, he's going to laugh his way to the bank and cash his check.
He already cashed his check.
He already got paid.
He already got paid.
But I'm just saying, people are thinking stop and support the game is stop and support him. He's already been paid for it.
I'm gonna go real straight here.
You're just killing an IP that way.
I'm gonna go real street here. Look, Will Wheaton Ben got paid. He Ben got his check.
Like, you're just gonna kill. You're gonna boycott a game because of a voice actor, but you're gonna kill the IP before it even gets out there. You guys are retarded. I've
You
never
think
heard
I'm
that.
not gonna play an intelligent systems game
They can
because of
switch.
Will Wheaton?
They can switch the damn voice actor for fucking Abraham Lincoln, but they cannot make another game if it ain't successful.
Let me put it this way. People don't want to hear Will Wheaton. Just turn the volume down. You don't have to hear him.
Okay, before anyone else goes on, Bear, you got anything you want to add?
Why does he look like that?
Bear.
He's upset because we were talking about Xbox.
Bear, can you hear me?
What?
Bear.
Yeah, what's
Mr. Hugger.
Yes, I'm here.
You have anything you want to add to this debacle?
No.
Just to give you a heads up in case you haven't been listening, we're completely off topic right now.
Yeah,
I know. I was listening. I heard you guys.
You son of a bitch.
It's all about that biological shits, man.
Well, folks, what? Listen, people.
Fuck
This
you.
is well, we are all members of the GAL, and we just don't really have a script.
We don't know what we're doing.
We don't give a
We
shit.
just don't know, so let's
We just
call it a
spitball
day.
that shit, man.
You know what? Fuck it. Just give your sign offs.
Yeah, thank you.
Ugh.
Let's just call it a day. Well,
You go first?
Ladies first. Ladies first.
Well, yeah, the hostage here, Kumar Strides, your game of deal. Thanks for having me, man. I wasn't a hostage. I just wanted to be one.
Yeah, I was hoping you gonna correct that shit because I was gonna.
Heck yeah, I will.
I was the podcast go on another hour to get that shit out the way.
Oh, no, that's okay because I'm always, hijacking your podcast since 1980. That's who I am.
Oh my God.
Okay, Red.
That's going to be a hard act to follow, but I'll try. Dr. Feelgood, this is me, Mr. Red Fox, but in this podcast I decided to take on a doctor persona myself. I'm Bones, damn it! I'm a doctor, damn it, not a philosopher! Oh, God. People don't get Star Trek anymore? God.
No,
Jesus
Shepard, if
Shut
you're
up,
still
Klingon.
there, if Shepard is still there, is he?
Good Shepherd.
Anyway, well, I'll go ahead and give his outro for him. That was a Good Shepherd. Be sure to check out his channel. I don't know what else the hell he says. Does anybody else know his?
Not a clue.
Okay.
No, that's you.
Well, good. Well, Shepard, if you're listening, man, we tried. We really did. Andre, letters.
Sorry, man. I was kind of in the middle of a phone call, so I was trying to get off the phone. And I got a little one awake who's yelling at me. But
Well, you did
I
cuss
had
out a
fun.
number of us, so you deserve to be yelled at. You cussed us all out.
You know what? Whatever. I had fun, so that's all I really cared about. I enjoyed the conversation.
All right, Bear.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me on your episode of whatever the fuck the show is going to be called. I came in here, fucking didn't even realize I was even going to be in part of a podcast, but whatever. Glad to be here. You all know who I am. You're fat Canadian fucking Hershey squirt motherfucker, Bearhugger29. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Okay, the Hershey squirt part.
Why?
Let me go ahead and get off this thing. We'll catch you guys later. We got to discuss that little terminology there. Anyway, guys, be sure to check us all out at Gamers at Large. I want to
Peace
thank
out,
all my panelists for showing up. You guys are all wonderful, and you're crazy as shit. Peace.
He's dead, Jim.